but actual local living Las Vegas off the strip residents. Is there any clamoring for the Oakland A's to get to Vegas?
None. I mean, it's less than lukewarm, because here's the issue. I mean, the A's have been a proud franchise and had their great moments, and they never had to come here. Mark Davis was already gone. Mark Davis already came here, and the Warriors went to the Chase Center in San Francisco. So this should have been a very easy deal to happen with no one else in the marketplace. Our AAA team, the AAA team of the A's, the Aviators, outdraw the Oakland Athletics. So no one cares about the A's coming here except all the politicians here and the businessmen and women who love to do deals, Damon. This is what no one's prepared to write about in the Bay Area, or mostly talk about on their radio shows, because they just don't know the story. So the A's, why would the A's come now and try to rip off and copy Mark Davis's blueprint when they were negotiating behind Mark Davis's back and trying to screw the Raiders in Oakland? And that's my perspective of it, if others have a different one. So everybody's out of the marketplace. So you can have the Coliseum. I never believed they were going to do anything at Howard Terminal. Give me a break. A port that, like, yeah, they're going to do a $10 billion deal, but they could have did any deal there. And I know you don't want to get into politics, but the worst politicians in sports history are in the East Bay. No slight to San Francisco. They get deals done. Oakland and the East Bay, where the crow flies 20 minutes to Oracle, Facebook, Apple, where trillions of dollars are, not billions, and no one can put a deal together there because the politicians are so nasty and they're so corrupt and they've been so bad behind the scenes that no one wants to negotiate with them. You could have Facebook buy the A's, Oracle, Mr. Ellison can buy it, Google, one of the partners there. This was left perfectly for them. Coliseum and Bart, if you blew into the smoke screen of Howard Terminal, Dave Cavill played it completely wrong. He's a carnival barker. He just got loud and look at me, look at all my selfies. And then, as you've been talking about on your show, John Fisher, who's got plenty of money in the world, he handled this poorly too. So we're smart now here in Vegas. Everybody's looking at the A's going, yeah, we'll take you. We'll take you. We'll help you build the stadium. And it'll take some time. But I think if the owner sells the team, which he can't in this process immediately, or the president resigns, which he should, for just handling this brutally, yeah, I think Vegas will look around and say, yeah, welcome. Let's do some business here. But it's very lukewarm at this point in time. Not a lot of people care.
With Manfred talking all about expansion, why wouldn't Vegas, which is 1,000% going to be a major league city and 1,000% going to be an NBA city, in the next 10, 15 years tops, why wouldn't they just wait for their fresh scratch out of the oven, born in Las Vegas baseball team, then taking on John Fisher and all the problems that come with him? Why not be patient for the right team instead of just running into the wrong team?
Great question. Simple answer. They're desperate. The A's need to come here. They cannot stay in Oakland. They could only stay in Oakland. I'm happy they had 27,000 at that protest, whatever it was. There are so many great Oakland fans that call my shows every day. I love Oakland. They ruined the model. Fisher has ruined it. So even if it was, hey, the A's are going to stay, you won't believe this, everybody. The MLB's canceling it. The A's are going to stay in Oakland. No stadium. Already a lot of their fans.
Fisher would have to go. I mean, that's just the only way they could possibly stay is for Fisher to sell to a new owner that wants to keep them here. That would be the only path to staying in Oakland at this time.
Yeah, I would think so. And if they did stay in Oakland and they had a new owner, how many fans would they get out in a year or two? If the new owner put a lot of money in and was in the market for Ohtani, someone you're talking about a lot on your show, or went out with free agency, yeah, I think you can rebuild it. The one thing about Vegas and every other ballpark going forward is they're building smaller ballparks. There's no need for a 50,000 baseball stadium. We got Allegiant Stadium, T-Mobile. We got everything out here. We don't need another 50,000. So you build a boutique, 32,000, 33,000 baseball stadium. Here in Vegas, you have to have a dome. You don't in Oakland. And they'll eventually get here if they do. But the mess that Fisher and Cavill put themselves into is Mark handled the transition of the Raiders to Vegas beautifully. You notice that the Raiders didn't play at Sam Boyd Stadium. Okay. Right. You notice that the Raiders didn't play in San Antonio for 2 years until they built the stadium. They threaded the needle and built this thing on time and on budget for $1.9 billion, which is not a lot, on time. And now we have a jewel in the NFL. The East Bay politicians can't do that. So even if they stayed in Oakland and wanted to be at the Howard Terminal or build on the Coliseum site, with the politicians and all the issues there, it would just be a mess. So they destroyed something that was so beautiful. And look, I wasn't a fan of Mount Davis for baseball. Okay, I go back to Day on the Green when there was no Mount Davis. But you could knock down the Coliseum, try to clean up Bart a little bit, clean up the area around there a little bit more, you got to, and then just build a small boutique Oakland A's stadium with some retail and maybe a couple of condos, and everyone would have been happy. But those politicians who get voted in and out of office every 2 to 4 years, Damon, the point I'm making, it was too bold for them. It was too big. They're complaining about roads and hospitals. You should. You're politicians. There's never been a sports team that moved that affected a road, a hospital, or school district. It's all the boogeyman type of stuff. The Oakland A's should remain in Oakland, California.
You know Mark Davis very well.
Mm-hmm.
How pissed is he that the A's got in the way of him getting a deal done in Oakland by hook or crook? You know, you said it would have taken a genie coming out of the bottle. Okay, so that happens. The genie is out of the bottle. How pissed off is Mark Davis that John Fisher stood in the way of him keeping the Raiders in Oakland for real? Or is he just sort of playing up to that very easy to grab onto talking point in the public right now?
Well, I think Mark is misunderstood by a lot of people who don't realize how sharp he is and what he saw with this vision that he's pulled off. Game, set, match in Vegas. Now he just got to win, and he wants to win. But going back to Fisher, I can't answer how pissed off he was. He's been on record with what he thinks about the whole deal and what happened in Oakland. He wanted to negotiate back then with Mark Bedane, former president, everybody else in more good faith, and try to work together as a team. What your audience needs to understand about Mark Davis is Mark Davis, if he wanted to take all the money and be a multi-billionaire and sell the team at the high, he would do that. He doesn't want any of that. He just wants to live a great life, have fun. His mom's still alive, Carol Davis, and wants to win.
It's the part of the family identity. Like, that guy needs to put on the white tracksuit and walk around pregame to feel like himself.
Yeah, and he wears the white jacket, and he's out in public, and he's with his fans. It's just for Mark now. Mark is on to such bigger things. The Aces won a championship. They're going to win again. He's got the Raiders in a transition of regimes. He's trying to win. And what Mark's trying to do is get this done right. And it's taken longer than he wanted it to, but he's still trying to make it right. But now what Mark's delivered to Vegas as a legacy play as an NFL owner is that when the NFL owners are at their meetings now, whenever they go into a meeting now, they look completely differently at Mark Davis than they did 10 years ago or 8 years ago. They're like, hey, I don't get him. I don't know him. Now Mark goes into the room and says, you're welcome. I did Vegas. And now all the owners are seeing the cash. They're seeing the upside. They're seeing the streaming. They're seeing the gambling on a different side of that. So, and I answer your question on the A's. If the A's end up coming here, I'll be sitting in the front row for the Yankee games. When the Yankees are here, I guarantee you I'll have the best 3 seats in the house for my 2 sons. If my wife wants to come, if they come here, it'll be good for business and the economy here. But, man, the A's should have stayed in Oakland. Everybody left. It's their fertile ground, and they don't know what to do with it.